I'm Head of Teaching and Learning at Nine Dots, and it's a real pleasure to host today's session. This one is on encouraging product proactivity through delegation. So we might have some people who are maybe we can see some potential in them. We want to get them more proactive, so we can help support that through delegations. Just to give you a bit of background, at Nine Dots, we help to support individuals, teams and organisations in growing and improving their knowledge and skills and behaviours in line with current environment and demands of the future. So we do this through an extensive range of training programs, professional apprenticeships, but also our free content series called Developing Yourself and Others. So every 2 weeks, we explore a real life situation or problem that many people are experiencing with their teams and organisations. We try to sort of analyse that root cause behind the struggles and provide these hints, tips, tools, advice through articles, podcast videos, and this webinar. So that's a little bit about Nine Dots. So let's really start today's session. It can really benefit leaders because it allows you to become freed up in terms of time, allowing others to take responsibility, enables that proactivity and full development. And it does mean putting your trust in others, and we're going to explore that a bit later. So there's confidence in this. So this virtual session explores what prevents delegation and provides some practical application of models to support any challenges in trying to give that delegation. Fantastic, good. So let's go to just thinking about an interactive session. I'm sure many of you have done webinars before. So we want to feel like we're all in one room together. We can use the audio. So like I said, if you just put yourself on mute, but then if I do ask a question, if you want to click yourself on mute, off mute, I can see that people would click off mute and I can come to you and ask you to share your thoughts. And the chat message is always open. So I may ask some questions, but just chat in that box. It's around about 45 minutes to an hour. You will be able to download, or you would have downloaded already, your work sort of handbook which supports this, so you can make your notes as you go through. I may bring a whiteboard to write some things up, and you've got some useful resources and articles as part of this session after we give you some of those. So without further ado, then let's think about, what are we here to do today? Like I was saying. Oh, sorry. Yeah, let's get this download to do it in case you haven't got it. So Sabina's just going to put. Sabina's my colleague. She's just going to put in the chat box a download to do that. Just make sure that everyone gets that. So all you do is you click on that, and it should be able to download straight from our workbook. Yep, they can Sabina's put it in the chat box. So if you don't know where the chat box is, it's a little icon right at the right hand side. Looks like a speech bubble if you just click on that. And it just means you get a little handout that goes alongside this session. So I'm just waiting a second so people get a chance to do that. Okay. So whilst you're doing that, I'm going to talk through then the objectives. So by the end of this short webinar, you'll learn a lot. You'll be able to define and understand what delegation is. Often we expect people to be proactive, but we've got to help them learn what delegation is, and we've got to understand what that means right away. Understand and overcome those barriers to delegation. So there's some real reasons why we're a bit nervous about delegating to people. I talked about trust a moment ago, so that's one big one. But then what's the right steps to make sure you're delegating in the right way? So who should do it and what you're going to delegate to them, depending on their level of ability and also their motivation. And then we've got sort of a step-by-step process to help you think about how to delegate. It is interactive. I will be asking for your thoughts, your questions, as I said, through the chat box, or if you come off mute, I'll be able to see that as well. Okay, so let's start then. So first question to you, like I said, it is, any ideas what delegation is? You may be doing it already. You may be trying to think about how to do it. You may have been delegated to yourself. So just, a definition, something to describe what you think delegation is. Please feel free to either write in the chat box, or just if you click yourself off mute, I'll know that you want to speak and share your thoughts. It's not a trick question. Fantastic, Joelle and Sarah. Sharing of tasks, absolutely. So it's something about having a workload and sharing the load. So yeah, sharing the load more. Maybe that's a bit more around, oh gosh, sharing the pressure of everything as well. Yeah, Carrie, great. Handing over to others, yes, and not holding on to yourself. Now, Abby, you're getting even close here to give up responsibility. I like that. So yeah, it's not only that giving of tasks, it is giving that responsibility to that person, depending on their level of how good and competent they might be, and also how you're how motivated they might be. Ada, I don't know if you want. I saw you come off mute. If you wanted to share anything, you don't have to. If you were just putting yourself on mute, that's okay. Yeah, Michelle, it's absolutely important trusting others to do the task. Yep. So the trust is the real big thing. Okay, great. I think you've pretty much got it. But let's give you some of the definitions to help you think about things in a slightly different way. So there's the word abdicate, and this is, I think, how traditionally people saw delegation. There's maybe a job or a task you don't like doing, and you just pass it over to somebody else. You totally abdicate responsibility and accountability. So accountability would be, the person who holds that ultimate accountability, decisions around it. Responsibility is people that do it. So when you abdicate, you kind of avoid doing anything and just pass something over. And I think if the task failed, if that person failed in a task, then it's on them. So abdicate is not something to do, even when time is of the essence, even when we're stressed and we've got lots of pressures. Avoid abdication at your peril, because they may not be able to do it, they may not be ready to do it, they may not understand what they're trying to do, and if it fails, there can be consequences. Now, we sometimes mix up the two terms, allocate and delegate. So allocate is about giving somebody tasks, but it's part of their responsibilities. So if you think of their job description, it's vaguely either a thing on their job description, or it's something that they're able to do. So by giving them the task, they should be able to do it quite easily. They should be able to understand what to do. There shouldn't be much of you training. And I think when we get lots of tasks that come in, maybe our workload goes up, we've got peaks and troughs in our different trades, etc., then sometimes we think we're delegating, but actually we're not. We're just allocating across to the resource that we have because they're there to do it. And by understanding that, sometimes it's easy to allocate because you're allowed to allocate. You're allowed to give people tasks that they are their level of responsibility, their job. Most job descriptions have, and any other reasonable responsibility. So it's okay to do that. So even when there's lots of workload, I mean, you've got to be conscious about overloading people, but you're allowed to allocate. Whereas delegate, okay, so I like this kind of giving up responsibility thing. So it is entrusting someone. So it tends to be things that are going to stretch them. It tends to be things that maybe are part of your job description that you're trying to develop them, or it's something new come in, a new project that nobody's necessarily done before, and we need to stretch and grow that person. So it's entrusting those duties to someone. So it's slightly different to allocate. It's not something they may have done before or understood before, but it's about how can you stretch and grow someone. So I've given a bit of a description against your three: abdicate, avoid; allocate, do freely, as long as you've got people who can do their jobs; and delegate is a bit more of a thinking thing. And that's where you can help people become more proactive, because delegating is something that's going to develop them. So they will start to come to you more. Now, I've talked for a few moments. Is anybody want to share on chat, what they think about those different definitions? Does it help in any way? Has it changed your view on what you thought delegation might be? This is our view of what delegation might be, but I think it helps clarify in people's minds. If you do, just put it in chat or come off mute, I'll come to you. It's nice to hear other people than my voice, but I understand if you don't want to share too much, that's okay. Good. So now we've defined it, we've given ourselves a bit of an understanding. Delegation is going to take more time. So we've got to think about, what prevents us from delegating. So, and time is probably one of those key things. So if delegation is good, so the benefits allow you to free up your time, allow other people to develop and grow, what do you think are the reasons why we stop doing that? Why would we not do it? And also, maybe another question to think through, what's the impact if you don't delegate? Joelle, perfect. Yeah, you don't trust the staff to carry out the task. They might not do it as well as us, or you're just not sure of them. We're getting smiles there. That's good. Yep. Yeah, you don't want to overload them. Are you overloaded? So there. I like that. You might enjoy the task. Yeah, you want to keep hold of it. It's lovely. You enjoy it, so you don't want to give up. I like that, Abby. Yeah, I think Carrie, similar to Joelle's, worry the task won't be done correctly. And Tom, yeah, we probably can do it better in the way that we do it, but there may be more. I might as well do the job. Yes, Paddy, I get what you mean. So by the time it takes someone to do that, then actually I could do it myself. So all valid reasons, and we'll go into a little bit more detail on those in a moment. But okay, say those concerns were out of the way, and you still didn't delegate. What do you think the impact is? What do you think by not delegating it, are you being unable to do? What do you think? What do you think that impact has for your team, for others? If you want to come off mute and share your thoughts, you can. Just click off mute. If not, just write in the chat box. Yeah, Joelle. So whilst you're trying not to overload people, maybe you actually get overloaded yourself. Great, Elisa. Not only do you limit yourself, like Hafsana says, you don't allow others to grow. Yeah, so how do you develop a team? How do you get a team really working bigger and better and stretching them? Complete burnout. Yeah, Carrie. Hopefully you're not experiencing that at the moment. Yeah, it slows me up because you have to do all the mundane tasks. Yeah, thanks, Paddy. Yeah, preventing opportunities, and the team might be demotivated. Yeah, so they might want to do things, they see things. So let's not always assume our team might not want to pick things up. So I think you came up, we've got a page here, I think you came up with most of these reasons. So no time, it's quicker to do myself. I think Paddy said that. Don't trust it'll be the other way I do it. I think Joelle said that one. Concerned they'll do a better job than me. I don't know that we actually had that one, but some people are a bit concerned maybe they're going to do an even better job, and therefore, I'm going to be out of a job because of it. Yep, somebody said, I think it was Abby, I enjoy the work, so I want to keep it. My team are too busy to be delegated to. He had that one. And the delegate, the person you're delegating to won't like the task. Well, yeah, that might be true. So all these are true. All these are things, good reasons. But actually, if we think about what we've just said, without doing this, we're not going to grow ourselves. We're not going to have others to grow. We're not going to have the time. The benefits far outweigh these reasons. What we need to do is make sure that we're delegating correctly. We're delegating well. We're getting people wanting to be proactive with this. So let's explore then how we can delegate. So there's three kind of things to consider. What is the thing that you are delegating? What's the size of the thing that you're giving the person? Who are you delegating to? So I don't mean what person, it's more what level are they at for this task that you're going to give them? How motivated are they? And then how can you actually make sure that, given what you're delegating and who you're delegating to, how you can delegate really well? So this is what we're going to explore now. So let's think about what to delegate. Delegate things that are part of your job, not their job. So you're allocating things, that's a job as a manager or a leader, fine. But these are the things that are part of your job, not their job, things new, things, projects, things that are going to stretch and develop them. And trust that they can do it. You have to be able to trust that they can do it. The steps to doing that will help, but if you don't trust them, then you're likely to hold on to it. You're likely not to give them the responsibility that they need to be able to deliver it. And then if it fails, whose fault is it? Often they get blamed, but actually we may not have been doing it as well as we need to. So they're the things to delegate, and the size of the task depends on who you're delegating to. So these are the two things that I've been talking about. It's what is the capability of the person, as in their level of skills, their knowledge, experience, to do the thing that you're giving them, and what is the commitment or the motivation, the level of willingness and confidence to do the task. So you can you can give somebody who's really competent a task, but they may not do it because they're not motivated, and I'm sure people have come across this before. So it's about, have you got a task that's that you're going to give to this person, and consider how capable are they of doing it and what's their commitment. And let me explore that a bit further with you. So if you've got somebody who's got low capabilities, so this is somebody who might be fairly new, but you think they've got potential, you can stretch them, but they're highly committed. Now, these are the people that were going, yeah, I can do this. I'm happy to do that. If there's any jobs around, they'll probably shout, they'll probably share that they want to do it. They're really committed to things. The danger is, and I've seen this happen, is that you see somebody who's highly committed and you falsely think they've got lots of capability. So the danger is that you give them a really big chunk of a project. So it might be this project that's come in and you say, yes, do all of this. Now, if you do all of that, the danger is that they're going to not be able to handle it because they haven't got that capability, and they're going to maybe drop in motivation, because when they're not progressing and they're not doing it as they need to, the commitment goes. So be aware of those people that say they can do something without you knowing they can. So I think it's being aware of their capability in that. Somebody who has got medium capabilities, medium commitment. So not everybody's always got high commitment. So yeah, maybe you can start to give not just, so sorry, for low capabilities and high commitment, I would give somebody a small task. So they're the kind of things that you would give. You give small tasks, sort of regularly review them. So you give small tasks. For somebody with medium capability, I'd sort of give larger tasks, and I'd want to talk about the reason that I was doing this. So there was, I can remember my manager when I worked in an organization where there was training. I used to be a training manager, and you can work with in the organization people who want to do personal development, so really fun and interesting ones. And then there's compliance training, which is very, very important, but it's not as fun. It's not as necessarily interesting because it's the same thing, but it's incredibly important. So I can remember my manager giving me the task to set up this this part of the side of it, the regulatory side, making sure we were doing some compliance training. And I remember him speaking to me, and he could see my face was like, oh, because I wanted to do the fun, interesting stuff. And he was really good, because what he did was he said, but the reason that I want you to do it is because I can see you're very good at, the technical side of things. I know that you consider this important. You come from a background of HR, so you know how important compliance is. And he said, and the difference that it's making to the organization, if we don't have these compliant, training, then the organization will fail. What was he doing, do you think, to me? Just, if I either come off mute or just put your ideas in the chat box, what was my manager doing really well to get me to do this task? Yep, absolutely, Manuel. Thank you. Yeah, he was motivating me. He was bringing up my level of commitment, identifying my skills. So the things that he was saying to me were things that, what's in it for me, telling me how good I was. Also, the impact, you're right, Joelle, giving me more confidence, because the impact this was going to make is actually huge. So all of a sudden, this task, this project that he was giving me, I went, I can, it is important. It is, something to do. And then he might always promise me that I can do other things later as well. So it made me want to do it. And then you have somebody who's maybe high in capabilities. So here you can give them a project. You don't have to give them just larger tasks. Sorry, I see I spelled tasks wrong there. You don't have to give them larger tasks. What you do is you can give them quite a lot of the project, so the whole thing, not broken down, but with varying commitment. And I think you're recognizing now you'd have to do a lot more of that motivation. So with delegation, it's not only about the level of task, the size of task, it's about how much motivation do you need to give. And then somebody who's got high capabilities and high commitment, okay, you might be giving them something that stretches them, but you're pretty confident in their abilities, they're quite confident in their abilities, and they're really committed to it. Then you can pretty much kind of not abdicate, but you can give the project, and you can kind of just keep in touch a little. It's not as much motivation, it's not as much effort for you. So what do people think of this? Anyone want to share? Come off mute. Happy to hear other voices. Happy to hear it in the chat box as well. What kind of what are you thinking at the moment around this? How does this help? And it might be a little while for the chat to come through. Thanks, Joelle. Yeah, it's helpful encouraging the team. Yeah, I think it's really helpful to think about people who are just around the motivation. What's in it for them? What's going to make them want to do this? And the more that you get people committed, the next time they'll want to come and want to do things. Any other thoughts? Yeah, Sarah. Yeah, absolutely. Working a person's strengths and interests. It's understanding your people. So delegation works really well when you understand them and you can see that this will motivate them. Sometimes tasks aren't things that are nice, but if you can actually, really support and give them a task that they are interested in, will give even better. Yeah, Paddy, taking the time to encourage people's absolutely will have more confidence that it's going to be done well because they're ready to do it, they're excited to do it. A more motivated team, yeah. So actually, you're thinking of the outcome there, Joelle, like much more productive. Fantastic. So you think about what tasks have I got and who am I delegating to, and then you use this 4-step process to make sure that you're you're thinking this through. So first of all, what's the task you've got? And therefore understand the level of that person's ability and their motivation. So then provide the expectation relative to their motivation. So in my example, my manager was great. He provided the expectation. He said, this is kind of what I want you to do. I want you to set this up. I think you've got the skills to do that. And he was giving me confidence and understanding why it would be me, and giving me a purpose to work to. So it instilled that belief, it instilled that purpose for me. So provide the expectation. What we mean by that is it what level is it at? So, you know, I mentioned earlier, provide the expectation. Is it a task because they're just low in abilities? Is it sort of a larger task, or is it the whole project that you can give to people? So provide that expectation, and then relative to their motivation. So those people that are low in ability but high in motivation, it's a, oh, you're going to be really good at this. This is really exciting, and it will really help. And then agree parameters. So if you think about parameters, this is how much leeway you're going to give. So Paddy, you've been talking about that kind of trust and will they do it well? It's about give the right amount of parameters for the task that you're given, and how often are you reviewing this relative to their motivation and ability. So just a question to everyone, just write in the chat box. If I had somebody with low ability and high motivation, what kind of parameters would I set? What things, you know, how much would I give them of the task? How much accountability might I give them? And how many reviews do you think I would do? How often do you think I would review? If you just write in the chat box your thoughts on what kind of parameters might I set for somebody with low capability but high motivation, and how often would I review how they're getting on with this? Great. Carrie and Joelle, of course, yeah, lots of reviews. Break it into smaller tasks with regular reviews. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, so it's small tasks, maybe every week, have a review, keep encouraging them how they've done, ask them what they did, support them, give them more direction. So we're probably giving a lot of direction to people with those parameters. You're sort of telling them, you're giving extra direction on that. And eventually they'll start to grow because they'll start to do that. Parameters, you probably wouldn't let them go off and, you know, talk to maybe too many other people, share things too much, in case, you know, it became the project, you know, became too big and they maybe been giving the wrong advice to people. So you keep the parameters fairly small. Let's go to somebody with maybe high capability but lower or varying commitment. Oh, yeah, Elisa, you just you answered the question, and you can see the motivation is dropping. Good. I wonder, Elisa, if you've got that maybe you've got an example in your head. But yeah, what do people think? So Elisa's asked a really good question, which I was just asking. So great minds think alike. What about high skills but low motivation? What would we do there in terms of the parameters and the reviews? Okay, Joelle, great. More engagement activities. Yeah, you're on the right lines there. So I think the parameters are quite big. You can still give them the accountability, you can still give them that project, and they can probably have quite a free rein for that. What the concern is, and Elisa hit the nail on the head, is are they going to be motivated to do it? Are they going to be interested? Are they going to come across obstacles that they don't know quite what to do, and so their motivation might drop? So I wouldn't have maybe weekly reviews. I would probably have you know, maybe fortnightly reviews, depends on the project that you're talking about. So fortnightly reviews, and the conversation of the review is around what they're doing really well, how they're overcoming some of the obstacles, what you can do to support them. Possible training, yeah. So if they need training, then suddenly maybe their skills aren't as the capability might not be as high as you thought it was. So yeah, put some extra training and just really engage them, tell them why it's making a difference, show them, share why it's making a difference, and much more encouragement. And if somebody really isn't succeeding or really not happy with it, then it doesn't mean that you they have to continue with it. You can take it from them, but you can say, you know, you wouldn't want to do that straight away. You'd want to see if you can encourage them and keep them going with it. Then if you've got somebody with high motivation, high capability, you can pretty much give them all the accountability to it. You are pretty much handing that over, and maybe they are asking you for a review rather than you putting in any reviews. You might put one at the end, or you might have a check-in every now and then, but you don't have to have lots. And unless of course you see them motivation dropping in any way, or the task not being done well, or the project not getting to its outcome. Great, I can see your people are thinking of this, they understand this. And this is the bit that always gets missed, or often gets missed. People have done the task, brilliant, move on to something else. Wait, no. We need to follow up. So even whatever level that people are at, it's about follow up and sharing successes and concerns, asking them to prepare how they would sort of delegate one of their tasks to someone. So it's sharing successes and following up with those. So it's about how do you have a personal work plan and saying what went really well, what could you do even better, and how would they maybe delegate their task to someone, or how would what's the next thing for them. What's the benefit of sharing the successes and the concerns? Absolutely, Joelle. Praise where it's due. First thing, yeah, getting some praise. And if it's gone really well, they take the praise, not you. That's good. It's not you that's done it, it's them that's done it. But why did I say this is such an important step? Identify processes that are not perfect. Yeah, so they may have done things that the project itself may not be quite right. So we want to make sure we're checking that's worked okay. What else might there be? Yeah, it could be that they struggled within it. So what did they do well? What could we help them with ready for the next time, and give them a bit of a work plan to support, identify those areas for training. Yeah. And just growing that confidence. So the next time there's a task, they're ready. In fact, they're asking for it. So that proactivity, you're starting to still instill that lessons learned exercise. Yeah, Manuel, that's a common thing to do, isn't it? Just making sure we've covered everything else. So the task gets done, but also the person feels much more confident and goes in. Even if the task doesn't work, doesn't mean that person didn't do their best. So because you've had regular reviews, because you know how it went, you're still instilling that confidence and say, okay, that task didn't work because there wasn't enough budget, or, COVID hit, or something that was outside of their control, but they did everything that they could to support that. So if you use this 4-step process, think about the right task for the right person, thinking about their motivation and ability, providing some conversation that gives them that expectation that moves them to want to do it, giving them the right accountability, allowing them to have a smaller task or a massive task, and the freedom to talk to others and have maybe some budget around it if they're bigger. Keep those reviews, and then making sure you're following up. What does that do? Well, I think if we step back to our reasons for delegating, let's just go back. If we do all of those things, and tell me now, can we overcome the no time to delegate? Would it be quicker to do it yourself? I suspect it still would be quicker to do it yourself in the short term, but in the long term, you're instilling that proactivity in others, you're developing them. Don't trust it'll be done in the way that I do it. I don't know. Just on the chat box, do you think by following this process that you can now trust people? It might be a yes or a no. or it might be, just give me your thinking. Yes, eventually, yes. Yeah, okay, yeah, it might take a stage, a few things. And remember, because it's stretching them, it might take a little while for them to understand it. But a meter, yes, great, yeah. So you can trust because you're giving the right parameters, you're talking it through. They might do a better job than you. I hope they do. I hope they do a better job than you, because then you can give that task to them, you can do something else. I enjoy the work. What things are you missing because you're holding on to something? What else could you find that was fantastic? Somebody else might really enjoy that as well. Give it to them. My team are too busy to be delegated to. You're too busy not to delegate. I think it will be the question, and whether you have to go to your managers for more resource, more budget, that's a different question. But, if you're overloaded and you burn out, then that isn't helping the team or anyone. So it's about sharing that load that we talked about earlier. Yep, you're right, Manuel. So sometimes urgency of delivering results, make sure you don't abdicate. Sometimes you do have to do things yourself. I'm not suggesting all the time that you do delegate, but it's that longer term plan. Start delegating sooner. Every time you get something that's given to you, is this something that you can do, or is this something that someone else can do? I don't mean shedding your responsibilities. I mean, is this something that another person can learn from, and it would be of benefit, and it would help you do something else, not just so you're just sitting there doing nothing. It would help you understand the team. It would help you give a bit of a helicopter view. And of course, yeah, sometimes we do have to do things, and the delegate won't like the task I have for them. Well, that's about, understanding what's in it for them, giving them some ideas, giving them that motivation. It doesn't always work. All these tools that we give you, I think it's about trying them out, seeing what works for you, what doesn't work, and sometimes it doesn't work, but it helps. It gives that support, and if you don't start doing something like this, there are all those reasons that we said before, that you're just going to fail. So delegation is the biggest and best tool that you can possibly have. So I've talked a lot through it, and you've given me some really good thinking. So I just want you to think, as we've gone through everything, just as we're starting to come towards the end of the session, how reflect on how can you use what we've explored today to delegate more and encourage proactivity in your teams, or generally. I'd just like to hear, either over the audio or in the chat box, your thoughts around how useful is this going to be for you? Can you see it, you applying it to certain situations, certain people right away? Have you got that in your mind already? Just tell me your thoughts. Oh, yeah, Amita.
Yeah, I didn't actually think about the benefits of having the regular meetings with them, especially if you delegate to someone senior. You'd think that they would come to you if they needed it, as opposed to you sort of checking in on them. And I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah. Just to make sure that commitment level there, because people can do things, but they may not always do them because they're not motivated. Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you. And thank you for sharing. It's nice to hear your voice. Great. Carrie, you've come off mute. I'm not hearing you. I'm not sure. Can you try again? Oh, sorry, Carrie. Maybe it's coming through on the through on the chat. I'm sorry that we can't hear you on that. Anybody else want to share? So whilst somebody else might want to come on, let's hear these. So Elisa, yeah, find examples and reasons why the person as well as the business will benefit from it. Yeah, so give them that bigger picture. Some people are really motivated by that, but it also helps you, feel confident that the thing you're doing is because it's going to benefit. It's not just you passing on a task. Yeah, Joelle, really hard to do. Easy to say, trust the team more, hard to do. But if you let go of more, it's amazing the difference it makes. In the first place, you need to allocate better. Oh, I like it, Sarah. Yeah. So are you not actually allocating at the moment? And then start to develop the team. Yeah. So learn that allocation. Be confident that if people are in those jobs at that level, they should be allocated the tasks too. If you've got, you know, too much work, that's a different conversation with you, with your manager. But generally, Abby, did you want to share anything?
Yeah, just to think about what you can gain from delegating tasks, whether it's being able to do more effective one-to-ones, appraisals, really start looking at personal growth within your team because you've got less work that can be delegated to someone else.
Yeah, it absolutely frees you up to do the things that make the real difference, the things that take a team from, you know, performing to really high performing. I like that, Abby. That's a real sort of leadership thinking approach. Great. Fantastic. Okay, and then Manuel's learn to bank on small inputs. Yeah, so where skills are, and you, yeah, and are low motivation. Yeah, so give little and often, but be aware that somebody who says they're really ready and they're enthusiastic, you don't give them too much, because they may not have that capability. And then Paddy, it's good to know. I know it's a good thing to do to develop the team with all the benefits. Gives helpful practical points to consider. Must allocate, delegate better. Yeah, you know, and we all fall foul of it. We all sometimes go back into our sort of ways that we do it. But I think really let's encourage, keep encouraging it. So if there are any other final questions or comments, please just share them now, either on the chat box or just share out. Just before I go through some final points. Like it, yes, it can, Abby, can absolutely, new ways. Oh yes, definitely a succession plan. So smaller businesses might have to have, you know, some kind of a succession plan coming in, as do larger businesses. But yeah, think what would happen. You are to gain, gone. Yes, I like it. Yeah. So if you're going, who's going to be taking your job? So absolutely develop people through. Great comments there. Fantastic. Thank you. And I hope you found that really useful. We've got a bonus resource pack that we will send you. We've created around this topic, and you can get your further knowledge on it. So some blog articles, other recommended training programs, sort of links to books, etc., and a free consultation opportunity. So sort of half an hour consultation opportunity for things that you might need for developing yourself and others, and we will send out the recording, so you got that as your as a nice thing to look back on when you're in the midst of trying to delegate. Go back and just check. So I do have a quick favour to ask before we close everything. I'm just going to open a poll, and it's just got a few quick questions for us about the session. Great if we can just hear, get your thoughts, and also we'll send out a feedback request after those, and it really helps us improve our service. So what I'm going to just do is just launch the ones. Thank you, John. So I'm just going to open the poll, and then if you wouldn't mind doing it, that's great. Great. So sorry, I'm just trying to open the poll here. There we go. Okay, so if you just answer those questions, great. You've got 5 minutes to do it. So just a bit about how you found you came into this, and any other sort of how you found it, etc. So we're interested to hear those. So once you've completed that, that's fantastic. Please do that. Please also get the feedback request after the session so we understand it. And like I said, we do free content. We do 95% funded training. So our apprenticeship programs for small to medium enterprises, you can get 95% funded training for leadership and management, sales, customer service, and HR programs. So I think, you know, please do look at our website around that. And obviously we offer private training, and we've got a brochure for that. So we'll send you more information if you're interested in that as well. Finish that poll, and then you know, we've got some more webinars coming up. So the one on the 9th of June, my colleague Kerry will be uncovering and overcoming unconscious bias, so understanding that topic. And then on the 23rd, again with Kerry, how do we set boundaries at work without damaging those relationships? How do we make sure that we can still get people, asking people to do things, but we don't damage the relationship, we get what we need from things. So 2 webinars coming up, which I think would be great if you were able to join them and share that we've done this. Thank you everyone for your thank yous. That's great, and I hope to see you on another session. And if there's anyone wants to stay and ask any questions, I'm here for another 5 minutes or so, so I can just stay on. But otherwise, once you've done the poll, if you just click the big red button at the bottom, you'll be able to leave the meeting. So thank you once again, and I hope to see you again on one of our sessions. Or great, thank you. Bye now.
Just a quick question.
Yeah, I'm just going to stop the recording then.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.